Okay, let's review first of all, what is a unit? What is a unit? Raise your hand if you think you know. Tell me what a unit is. I don't think we wrote down a definition for it last time, so tell me what you think it is. Yeah, Carly.
It's like the labels that go on the end.
Bingo. Goes after the numbers. What else, Nate?
Oh, I was going to ask if I could use the bathroom before
No. Okay, units are the labels that go after numbers. Give me some examples of units. Just yell them out.
M.
M stands for what?
Megameter.
No, just regular meter. Right? Meter. That's okay. What else? Kilometers. What else? What are the measurements that we use? What are units that we use often? Inches, feet, miles, centimeters, right? All of those things are considered units. Pounds, tons, ounces, all of those are units. Okay, so when we say the term unit conversions, all we're doing is taking one measurement and converting it to a different unit. It does not change the quantity of anything. It doesn't change how much of that thing there is. We're just talking about converting from one thing to another. So if I said, how many inches are in 1 foot? What would you tell me? What would you tell me? 12. There's 12 inches in a foot. That's a unit conversion right there. Okay? Because we took the unit from being feet, 1 foot, to being now inches. Right? The unit is no longer feet. It's now in inches. So that's a unit conversion. How many inches are in 2 feet? 24, right? That's a unit conversion. It's the same amount of distance, right? Do we agree that 2 feet is equal to 24 inches? Yeah, it's the same distance. It's the same value. It just has a different unit on the end. So when we asked even how many centimeters are in a meter, okay, look at your charts there. See if you can tell me how many centimeters are in a meter. Look back at your chart if you're not sure.
Is it 0.01?
No. How many centimeters are in a meter? A centimeter is 1/100th of a meter. So there's 100 centimeters in a meter. That's a unit conversion. Okay? All right. So when we do unit conversion, we're going to use something that are called conversion factors. Conversion factors. There should be another little quote right there. Conversion factors are numbers that are used to change from one unit to another. They are numbers that are used to change from one unit to another. So the example we just did, 1 foot equals 12 inches. That is a conversion factor, right? Us knowing that there is 12 inches in 1 foot, that's a conversion factor. It allowed us to convert our units from inches to feet or feet to inches, whatever it was. Okay, so when we say convert, really we mean change, right? We're changing our units.
What's the difference between?
When we said that 1 foot equals 12 inches, that's our conversion factor. Or 1 meter equals 100 centimeters. That's a conversion factor. 1 kilogram equals 1,000 grams. That's a conversion factor, right? They're the numbers that allow us to do the problem or to make the change, okay? So when we have to do unit conversions, we've got to know some of these different conversion factors. And so that chart I gave you with all of the metric prefixes, that'll be something that we use to help us do these unit conversions because it tells us a lot of these conversion factors. Okay, when we use conversion factors, we're going to basically arrange our problem so that the units cancel out. Do you know what I mean when I say they cancel out? It's almost like we're reducing a fraction, right? If we want to reduce a fraction or cancel something out of a fraction, do they have to be both in the numerator, both in the denominator, or one in another?
It needs to be both.
right? If I want to cancel something out, I have to have 1 in the numerator and 1 in the denominator to be able to reduce it. Agreed? Yes? Okay. So now I'm going to give you some conversion factors. I think I gave these to you in the chart on there, but you're going to have to fill in the numbers. Okay? So these are conversion factors that help us go just in only the U.S. system. So these are numbers that you should maybe already know, but if you don't, we're going to fill them in right now. So 1 foot is equal to how many inches? 12 inches. 1 mile is equal to how many feet? 5,000. Yes. Close. 5,280 feet. 5,280 feet. Okay, 1 pound. How many ounces do we think are in 1 pound? Do you know this one? How many ounces are in a pound?
24.
16. 16 ounces in a pound. And then a gallon. Do you know how many quarts are in a gallon? 4. We should know that just from the word itself. Quart, quarter, right? There's 4 quarts in a gallon. So these are conversion factors just for the U.S. system. And there's a whole bunch more. We could say how many cups are in a pint. We could say how many pounds are in a ton. Do you know that one? How many pounds are in 1 ton?
2,000.
2,000 pounds in 1 ton. Okay? All right, very good. So these are things that help us convert with U.S. measurements. So that's what we're going to practice with first is U.S. unit conversions. So let's try this one. How many feet are in 38 inches? How many feet are in 38 inches? How would we go about solving that problem?
38 divided by 12.
38 divided by 12. I would agree. If I know that I want to find the number of feet in 38 inches, I don't want to multiply by 12. I want to divide by 12. Okay? Because if I multiply by 12, I would end up with, 38 times 12, 456 feet. Do you think that seems reasonable? Think about how long 38 inches is. Do you think that's the same as 456 feet? No, right? So if I want to find out how many there is here, I would take 38 inches divided by 12 inches, and I get 38 divided by 12 is 3.17 feet. Okay, so now think about both of those distances. Do they seem the same? Can you envision 3.3 feet and a little extra? And could you envision 38 inches? Does that seem about the same? Does it seem reasonable? Okay. What questions do we have about how we solve that? Okay, let's look at the next one here. How many feet are in 3.11 miles? How would we go about converting from miles to feet? What do you think we should do? Yeah, Hannah.
Can you times it by 12?
Okay, if we times it by 12, what would that get us?
37.32.
Okay, so is that how many feet you think are in 3.11 miles?
No.
That seems unreasonable, right? So your conversion factor is the wrong one. You're using the conversion factor between inches and feet. What do we know about the conversion factor for feet and miles? Look back at your table with that. Yeah, Evan, what do you think?
Multiply 3.11 by 5,280.
Good. I think we need to multiply by the number of feet that are in 1 mile, right? If we know that 1 mile makes up 5,280 feet, and I want to know how many feet are in 3 miles, I need to multiply those together. Agreed? Okay, do we see big picture with that? 3.11 times 5,208. That gives me a distance of 16,400 420.8 feet. Does that seem reasonable? Think about how far 3 miles is. 3.11 miles. We should be expecting here a large number of feet. It would not make sense to us if we had accidentally divided 3.11 divided by 5,280. We would have gotten a value of 0.000005 feet. Would that have made sense? Could there be that many feet in 3 miles? Right, that wouldn't have really made sense. So we want to check to see, does it make sense? Is it reasonable? Okay? So now I'm going to show you a little bit of a more systematic method for unit conversions that will always work. Okay? It's called a Tchart system. Okay? And we organize ourselves a little bit better so we really know what do we need to be doing, multiplying or dividing. We're not just having to guess about if we're going to be multiplying or dividing. Okay? So here's how it works. We always start our Tchart with what we know. What we know, okay? This question says, how many inches are in 2.10 feet? Okay? I'm going to start my Tchart with what I know. So 2.10 feet. And then I'm going to draw a T, like a sideways T like that. Okay? I want you to do it along with me, please. Okay? Now, if you were just thinking about how to do the problem, what do you think we would do here? Would we multiply by 12 or divide by 12?
Multiply.
I think we're going to multiply because we want to find out how many inches are there. So we should have a bigger number of inches than feet, right? Okay, so here's how it works. Here's how this Tchart works. This system is called dimensional analysis, which is a fancy way of saying we want to get our units to cancel out. Okay? And we said, listen. Some of us are off in La La Land, okay? Some of us are not quite focused in. And I need you to be focused in because this is a big deal. We want to get our units to cancel. And what did we say? If we have fractions and we want things to cancel out, we need to have one in the numerator and one in the denominator, okay? So I want us to envision this Tchart as a big set of fractions, right? We're like multiplying fractions together. So if I want to get rid of feet and the unit feet is in the numerator already and I want to get rid of it or cancel it, it has to go in the denominator then. Okay? I want to get rid of feet and I want to go to inches. That's my goal. Okay, so as we march through these unit conversions, what we want to cancel out has to go on the bottom, and what we want to go to has to go on the top. What questions do we have about that? That's just the units part of it so far. Then we need to look at this section of our Tchart and say, what numbers go here to make that true? Is there 1 inch in 12 feet? No. Is there 12 inches in 1 foot?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so that's what our Tchart should look like. That's allowing us, we said we were going to multiply by 12, didn't we? And I said to think about these as fractions you're multiplying together. So that's really what I'm doing here. Okay? So now once you've got your Tchart set up, I want you to look carefully at the units and say, do my units cancel out? Is one in the numerator and one in the denominator? Yeah, so that means they cancel out, and the unit I'm left with should be the one that my problem asks me for. Right? I was asked to solve in inches, and so that's what I did. What questions do we have about how we got the numbers put in there or how the units went in there?
Are we going to do like different examples?
Yeah, we're going to do lots of practice. Okay? Lots of practice. Okay, what other questions do we have about how that went in there? Okay, now the final step of your Tchart is to multiply everything on the top and divide it by everything on the bottom. Okay, you'll hear me say it a lot. I say multiply across the whole top, divide by the whole bottom. So multiplying across the top means I would take 2.10 times 12. So let's go ahead and do that. If you have your calculator, get that out and do that. 2.10 times 12. And then I'm going to divide it by the whole bottom. What's on the bottom? What number's on the bottom? 1. So if I need to divide it by 1, do I need to plug that into my calculator? No, right? 2.10 times 12 gives me 25.2. And the units that go with that then are inches. Okay, so that is how many inches are in 2.10 feet. This one says how many miles are in 4,330 inches. How many miles are in that many inches? So before we even do the math, I want you to think about this. Do you think the answer here is going to be a really big number or a really small number?
I think it's, is it below 1?
Yeah, it should be below 1. I think it's going to be a really small number because if we think about it, we've got a mile's a long, long way, and 4,000 inches is not that many. So can we convert directly from inches to miles? Do I know how many inches are in 1 mile? No. But what's my kind of middleman then between inches and miles? Feet. Good. Okay, so let's kind of map this out here. I'm going to go from inches to feet to miles. That's my plan, right? I kind of have to map that out in my head, what I'm going to do there. Now, when I start my T-chart, what does it start with? I always start with
4,330.
Okay, 4,330. You're going to hear me say this a lot. Your T-chart starts with what you know. And what you know comes directly from your problem. Okay, so we're going to start with 4,330 inches. And then we draw our T. Okay? We draw our T. Okay. So we said we can't go directly from inches to miles. Do we agree? Because we don't know how many inches are in 1 mile. What did we say we needed to go to in between?
Feet.
Inches to feet. And then I draw another section of my T. Okay, I'm going to put all the units in first and get the units right, and then we'll come back and add our numbers. Okay? So right now, if I stopped where I was, what would my units be?
Feet.
They would be feet, right? Inches would cancel, and I would be left in feet. But that is not what my question asks me for. My question asks me to go all the way to miles. So if I want to get rid of feet, where does it need to go?
On the bottom.
Perfect. Feet. And then what needs to go up top right up here? Miles. Miles is just abbreviated MI. So now if I just check my units, right? Inches cancels, feet cancels, and I'm left with miles. So my units are good. But now I got to go back in and put my numbers in. Okay, so is it easier to say in 1 inch is how many feet? Or is it easier to say 1 foot is how many inches? Right, we're always going to give the bigger unit the 1. So 1 foot is 12 inches, right? And what about between miles and feet? Which one gets the 1? Which is the bigger unit?
Feet. I mean miles.
Miles is bigger. And do we know how many feet are in 1 mile?
5,200.
5,208. Okay, so if I look at my units, inches have canceled, feet have canceled, and I'm left with miles. Say it again. So now my rule for finishing the math is to do what? What did I say? Multiply across the whole top, and then what? Divide by the whole bottom. You'll hear me say that a lot. Multiply across the whole top, divide by the whole bottom. So in my calculator, I could go 4,330 times 1 times 1. Right? That gives me 4,330. And then I need to divide by the whole bottom. So I can take 12 times 5,280. And I get 63360. Then I need to finish by doing the whole top divided by the whole bottom. And I get 0.068 miles. Does that match what we thought in terms of big number, small number?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we thought it was going to be a really small number of miles. Okay, let's try this one. How many minutes are in 36 days? How many minutes are in 36 days? So let's think about what's our expectation here. Do we think we're going to end up with a big number or a small number? Big, right? We should have a big number. There's a lot of minutes in one day, let alone 36 days. Okay? So I'm always going to start my T-chart with, 36 days, or what I know. 36 days, and I draw my chart. Okay, 36 days. Okay, so let's think about our map to get from days to minutes. What do you think I need to go to first?
Hours.
Days to hours. I think you can go days. Do we need to bother going to we don't need to go to weeks or anything like that. We're just going to go days to hours to minutes, right? So now if I want to get rid of days, where does it have to go?
On the bottom.
On the bottom. And can I go directly to minutes here? No. What has to go right here? Hours. Okay. And now I'm going to go another step on my chart and get rid of hours because that's not what my problem asked me for. It asked me for minutes. Okay, do we feel pretty good about putting the units in the right spots?
Yes.
Okay, now we go through and fill in the numbers. I always like to give the bigger unit the 1. Okay, because it doesn't make sense for me to say 1 hour is 1/24th of a day. You know what I'm saying? It's not as something that's easy for me to think about. I like to say 1 day is 24 hours. Right? I like to give the bigger unit the 1 and then tell how many of the smaller unit are there.
Yeah.
Okay? So days has canceled now. Now I want to get rid of hours. Is hours or minute the bigger unit? Hours is the bigger unit. And how many minutes are in 1 hour? 60. Good. So hours has canceled. Days has canceled. Now, if I did my math right now, my units would be minutes, which is exactly what I want it to be in. Okay? So now what's our rule for the math?
Multiply the top, divide the bottom.
Good. Multiply across the whole top, divide by the whole bottom. So we'll take 36 times 24 times 60. And we get 51,840 minutes. Do I need to bother dividing by the bottom? Because it's all ones, right? So I don't need to bother doing anything with the bottom. And does this match our expectation because we thought it was going to be a really big number? Yeah, very good. Okay, so do we feel pretty comfortable converting with the US units?
Yeah.
Now are you ready to go metric system?
It depends.
Okay, let's try it. How many grams are in 125.2 kilograms? So you might want to have your chart kind of available to you. I'll try to remember to print you a bigger chart so we have that a little bit out and ready, okay? I'll try to get you that for next class so you don't have to be flipping back and forth, okay? Are in 125.2 kilograms. So first, can we yet start to think about, are we going to be expecting a big number here or a small number?
Small.
It's gonna be big.
I think it's going to be big, right? Because kilogram is a larger unit than grams, right? So if there's 125 kilograms, there's going to be a lot more grams than that, okay? If you're not quite sure on that yet, that's okay. We're going to start our chart with what we know. 125.2 kilograms. Okay, and we draw our T. I want you to look at your chart and see, is there a direct way that we can go from kilograms to grams?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. Okay? Because we know based on our chart, kilograms to grams. Let's look at what is our conversion factor here from kilo to regular. Okay, which one's the bigger unit? Kilograms is the bigger unit. How many of the base are there in a kilo?
1,000.
1,000. Okay, do we need to look back at our chart and see why that is? We're going to put kilograms here to cancel grams. We said that 1 kilogram is equal to 1,000 grams. Can I stop right there?
No, because you have to cancel it.
Right? This cancels. I'm left in grams. Is that what I wanted?
Yes.
Yes. So I can take 125.2 times 1,000, and I get 125,200 grams. Remember to put that unit on the end, right? We don't want to leave our number without a unit. We want to make sure we've got that attached to it. Okay, did we at least get to that part on our own? And then we're confused about what numbers go in there?
Well, I know that 1 goes per liter. So
Right? Liter goes here. And then if we know that milliliter is 1/1000th of a liter, then this has to be that there's 1,000 of those in a liter. So I multiply by 1,000. Oops.
That's what I had, but I didn't.
2,300 milliliters.
I got it. Okay, so
A what?
this one I didn't use a chart.
Right there? Because I'm telling in 1 liter there is 1,000 milliliters.
0.
This section of our chart has to be true. Okay?
She said.
We don't do any math until the very, very end. So don't try to calculate things as you go through your T-chart. The math doesn't happen until the end. Okay?